So one of you collected a bag of goods to be delivered to the gatehouse in Sigil.
Yeah, that was me.
And then Serenity immediately opened it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so you still have that bag of goods?
I still got that bag of goods.
And then he just looked like he was dealing with a child, and tied it back up again, and was like, "All right, open this," and then handed it to someone else.
So what is the? Might as well clear this up now. What's the plan for this bag of goods?
I'm planning on turning it in.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's no reason to.
I don't see any real reason or benefit we would get from stealing it.
Yeah, let's steal from the guys that run the soup kitchens. That'll look real good.
Yeah, no kidding.
That was the Destil voice, not the Serenity voice, prick.
I mean, it's not like... Who are we supposed to deliver this to? The
The gatehouse.
Bleakers? It's not like the Bleakers really need it, though.
Okay,
You know?
but here's the thing. This is why I have the package.
Yeah, I agree with this.
Now you were offered
Right.
payment for safe delivery of this package.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're getting nothing out of it.
No,
Yeah, 50 gold is actually pretty good. Glorified errand, boys.
Yep.
I mean, we're going in that direction anyway.
The plan is then to leave out with McDohl Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the 10 of you set out from the hearth. The other current denizens of the hearth are either not in a position to leave or are going to wait for another party to come and go.
Or insane.
Or are, yeah, but I tried to put it delicately, but yes, what I meant by in no position to leave. Engraved in particular is holding out some vestige of non-characteristic hope that someone else in his party survived the wreckage and will be making their way here. So he's staying put for now.
These wins, I don't know, I kind of like them. I just feel like maybe if they were a little closer to my skin,
No.
it might be a little better.
No.
So
Because you gotta let the winds flow around you. That's what you guys were talking about, right? You eventually come to terms with them.
Let's refresh everybody's memory, because everybody has now developed a pandemonium tick.
Right.
And Mahogany, would you like to go first?
So, my pandemonium tick is that I am now a nudist while exposed to the winds of pandemonium.
It's pretty good. Can anybody else top that?
No one did.
No.
I mean, Serenity's accident prone, and she did tear the door off the place last session, but I
That
think
was
it
pretty
actually
good.
tops it.
Yeah.
Let me just update my AC here.
Ciclon thinks that everything is tied back to bringing him back to Jandar. That he's a conspiracy theorist now. So
Right. Yeah.
He's checking InfoWars on his phone and everything. It's pretty bad.
Ooh.
Riot's finding it difficult to use both hands on anything because one is always scratching an imaginary itch on her back.
So how many days provisions does everybody have?
I have 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've eaten any of mine.
Yeah, I have 5 as well.
The road back to Sigil from the hearth, McDohl is bringing you all in on the road that they use, is relatively safe, is how he describes it. More importantly, it's consistent. The portal that they use, it's not a shifting or intermittent portal. However, the key that you need is some sort of wind instrument. He explains that the place where the portal is a place of great sound, and not just the winds. He says the caves in this area have been shaped, have been carved out in such a way that the winds create music. The gate key, he says, is to hold a wind instrument. He uses a flute. He holds up this little wooden flute that he has, and all of the members of his party also have one. And held up to the portal, the winds will flow through it and create sound. But in doing so, that instrument will never produce sound again. Every time they have to make this journey, they go down to the bazaar and buy 5 cheapy flutes or kazoos or what have you.
Have I seen any wood in this plane?
None.
So thus far?
Just the wood that the hearth is built out of.
I ask if who's the rat man's name?
Stez.
I asked Stez if he has any scrap wood around that I could use to construct some wood flutes for us.
And he tells you that he is in a wood deficit in the moment because he has to repair a door.
Does he have the remains of the door?
He tells you you're more than welcome to go down and retrieve it.
And
Down the drop.
at that, I'm just like,
No,
that doesn't seem like the best of my plans.
the only wood they have here is firewood, and Stez won't part with it.
So how many of us need one of these flutes?
Theoretically, 1. And Middlebob and his company have 5. But if you all get separated, you'll be trapped here.
Right.
Does it need to be a wooden instrument or just a
Just
needs to be-
music-making instrument?
just needs to be a wind instrument.
All right, so we could conceivably make some other... I'm going to ask Riot here. Riot, can you think of any simpler wind instruments besides a flute that we could use?
And Riot says, well, you give me 2 blades of grass and I can put something together.
Could you make something out of rock?
I'm not a stonesmith.
Well, I'm sure we'll be fine.
Okay? The path there is...
Worst comes to worst, I'll carve a bit of my armor off.
Let's see here.
Or my shield. My shield's probably cheaper.
I mean, you don't want to be wearing that anyway.
So who wants to roll me a d8?
Done.
I'll do it.
I'll take my blindfold off.
Oh. I'm
That's not
already
my
doing
pandemonium quirk. I just
8.
like it.
So you're leaving in hurricane force winds.
it. Wow.
So you step out
Nice
into the
job.
winds,
Thanks a lot, McDohl.
going to assume
Welcome.
you don't step out into the winds while they're hurricane force. You wait for them to go back down to deafening. So nobody can hear. Everybody's at their maximum penalty for wind saves. Holding material components or melee weapons is incredibly difficult. And Middlebob confirms with your company that these are the conditions you all want to depart in.
Kelian shakes his head vigorously.
Yeah.
Doesn't say a word.
So is that a yes or no? Are we leaving in the
Mm.
deafening winds, or
You might want to give it some more time.
give it another day?
Yeah.
I don't know, you guys. This seems okay.
Nope.
Put your clothes back on, Mahogany.
I never understood those druids who said this made them feel closer to nature, but
The next day, trying again, it's merely very windy. Which means at least you can
Alright.
hear each other.
that's good enough.
That's a lot better. So
Works
if
for
we
me.
can, if we can actually hear each other, even with we can hear each other even with the earplugs. Because I'm totally putting the earplugs in when we leave.
Aren't we all kind of... Wasn't that the point of going through the acceptance phase, so like we don't really need the earplugs anymore. We're already as mad as we're going to get.
Yeah, but
That's a good
you
question
still
to
have to make
ask
saving throws to like hold your weapon in your hand if it's too windy. You still
But
have
right,
to
but
hear
not-
each other.
Yeah.
None of that applies to like wearing earplugs or not.
I'll leave that up to
Like-
you if you want to.
Okay.
I'm still wearing earplugs. I don't care.
The
I'm gonna
winds are
leave
still
mine out.
very loud and very irritating.
Yeah.
I don't need anything extra on my body.
Serenity will keep her earplugs in.
Middlebob explains that you'll be traveling down to the second layer of Pandemonium, where the tunnels are much narrower and much tighter, and they form a sort of kind of honeycombed passages. So let me pull up my travelogue here.
When you say much narrower, do you mean like one by one or like crawling?
Well, and he says, as a gnome, I seldom have to crawl anywhere. He looks over at Serenity and says, but that one might.
That seems self-explanatory to me.
He says, now when we get to the second layer, when we get down to Cocytus, the winds there don't sound like winds. They sound like wails and moans, like the howling dead out of the stories you hear. That's how you'll know you crossed from one layer down to the second.
Do you have a YouTube video for us?
I don't.
He asked the gnome.
He says, what we're looking for is a narrow cave, and you guys are walking kind of perpendicular to the hearth, so you kind of see the hearth, the light of it, spinning in the distance slowly as you make your way around the walls of this giant tunnel.
Who's walking closest to the naked Mahogany?
I'm waiting for Kelian to say something.
Man, no one's interested. That's 7 charisma, not doing anything for anyone.
He says we're looking for a tunnel that'll be marked with a signpost that the Middlebob Company put up as a landmark. Unless somebody's torn it down or made off with it, which has happened before, we'll find it with relative ease. Because the whole time you've traveled through this giant tunnel, you've seen smaller tunnels that adjoin it. Tunnels that are maybe 20 or 30 feet in diameter, rather than...
We rested in 2 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than this tunnel you're in now, which seems to be a mile or more in diameter. And he's giving you instructions in case the group gets split up.
Okay.
Pandemonium is not the most populated plane, but where we're going is a somewhat well-known portal to Sigil.
Okay.
So it's going to be more populated than you're probably used to. Their strategy, whenever they meet up with hostiles, is essentially to leg it. They try to cover their tracks with illusion magic. They do not engage combat if at all necessary, or if at all possible.
Are the foes in the second level of Pandemonium any fiercer than the first level?
Like I said, we do our best to not hang around and find out. On a good day, we can get back to the portal without meeting anybody. So I'm sure, as you've seen from your interactions with our dear friend Stez, that even on a good day, the citizens of Pandemonium are not the most pleasant sort.
I think it's been a while since Stez has seen a good day.
So who wants to write down Middlebob's directions?
I'll do it.
Because what you want to do is find a road that takes you to a place called the Harmonica. Depending on what the winds are doing, you'll know when you get there. You'll either hear it from a long ways off, or you won't hear it from a long ways off, Depends on where the winds are going and how strong they are. This is when we find the passage down to Cocytus. We're going to take it for about half of a day. Now, someone has either put up another sign there at the layer boundary, or maybe somebody didn't. I don't remember. The point is, that's where the boundary is. Now, when you get to the harmonica on the second layer, you want to travel forward 3 spikes. I don't know what direction forward is. They don't have north or south on these confounded planes. But when you travel forward 3 spikes, you'll climb up to the 4th landing and look for a copper ring around one of the stone grooves. That's the portal, and that's where you'll want to have your wind instrument handy.
Okay.
Got it.
What's a spike?
So you'll know them when you see them. And he elaborates no further on that.
Okay.
Is forward into the wind or out of it?
He's not sure what you mean by into it or out of it. He says when you come out of the tunnel into the harmonica, just walk forward. You can walk forward, can't you? And then he asks Riot to demonstrate walking forward to make sure that she can do it.
I've seen her walk forward. I can vouch for her.
All right. and Riot repeats back the instructions to make sure she has them right.
Okay. And then just to be difficult, Riot walks the entire journey on her hands backwards. Alright, it's a 2-day journey to the layer boundary. So, will somebody roll me, let's say 6d4.
I'll do it.
And see what the winds do. If we're really lucky, we'll get back up to hurricane force winds.
Lucky.
Man, I'm having a real
64.
issue.
We've fully rested before we leave, right?
Yes. Everybody mark off 2 days worth of provisions.
This looks like some bad rolls.
There's up. So up twice, down 1.
So 2 provisions. Okay, hang on 1 second. Let me. Oop. Back page.
The winds go up and down as you make this journey. You leave the mile-long tunnel into the narrower tunnel, maybe about 40 feet in diameter, one of the larger side tunnels that you've seen so far. And Middlebob's sign is in place when he gets there.
That's good.
He spends a few minutes, making sure it's secure at the base. Kind of goes over it, makes sure there's no graffiti. He takes great pride in the craftsmanship of his company. And as you enter this smaller tunnel, he tells you that this is more the common terrain of Pandemonium, that those mile-wide tunnels are the exception, not the rule. And then he explains that these mile-wide tunnels, the ones that are almost indistinguishable from just cave floors, some of them are more like plains with exotic forms of moss and plant life covering them. Those are the ones you want to avoid, because you'll get stampedes of insects the size of buffalo. That was it?
No additional information. That just sounds terrible.
Yeah. Why does anybody come here?
Why did you come here?
I didn't. Not by choice.
Give me 2 seconds. I have to go rescue my dog from the freezing outdoors.
For some reason, I feel like we should be blaming Serenity, but I'm not sure why.
Apologies to everybody in chat for how bad my microphone sounds.
That's fine.
Oh, you actually sound fine.
We've had worse microphones. And you're not cutting in or out at all, which is really nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wish it didn't have to be a trade-off like that.
The tunnel that you're traveling through is much narrower. In fact, it's so narrow that the group of you can't all walk through it on the same level of ground. So it's kind of disorienting looking to the sides and seeing some of your comrades walking
Off of the
at an
walls.
angle along the walls. It's very unnatural and very unnerving. And every few minutes, maybe every 15 or 20 minutes, the Middlebob Company comes to a halt, turns their backs to the wind, and pulls out a map. And a couple of them pore over it and argue back and forth for a few minutes just to make sure they're going the right direction. Because as you take these narrower tunnels, they join and branch a lot more often. And Middlebob explains that they're doing this because there are two routes to get where we're going, and we're taking the longer path because the shorter path crosses the River Styx in a couple of places.
And that sounds like a terrible idea.
That's a good path.
Yeah, I like the song. I like the longer path. The last time we took
Yeah.
the short path, it was terrible. So
Yep. The longer path is good.
Do you guys tell the Middlebob Company anything about why you came to Pandemonium, or do you just leave it at that? It wasn't
No.
our choice.
No,
There's no reason to elaborate on that.
no, we don't really go into it.
Okay.
Kelian can't, even if he wanted to.
We're not pumping them for what they're trading through Pandemonium.
right.
So at the end of the 2 days, did everybody mark off provisions?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Right.
At the end of the 2 days, the sounds of the wind do change. And at this point, the winds are a gale force. The walls get much closer in. Suddenly, the tunnels you're walking through are only about 10 feet in diameter. So if one of you were to walk on one side of the cave, and the other one would walk on the other side, you would actually knock heads. On the third day of traveling, now that you've made it to Cocytus, which is this nice looking second layer here, they still stop and check their map every so often. But twice over the course of that third day, you hear rumbling. Not coming from any particular direction, just kind of vibrating through the rock.
Is that normal?
Are you asking Middlebob?
Mm-hmm.
He nods and says, yeah, that's probably normal. But you've noticed over the course of this third day that the company has become more and more tense. And not just because you're walking around with your willy out.
I figured that was making everyone chill out.
See, McDohl, this is the real legend of Willy. I'm sorry, I should have done that.
Inside jokes.
Yeah, you're all on the outside, looking in, and you're out in the rain and dying apparently because fake Super Bowl tickets. Eventually, you guys come to what looks like a chasm. The tunnel you're in comes to an abrupt stop and overlooks just blackness in all directions. And on the other side, only about 10 or 12 feet away, you see another tunnel bored into the solid rock wall. And this seems to cause the Middlebob Company quite a bit of distress. Because this is a formation that they have never seen before. And so right now they're all standing with their backs against the wind, with their maps out. They're kind of huddled in a little circle, discussing amongst themselves what the issue is. Serenity, you speak Gnomish, right?
Yeah. Wait, do I? No, I speak, actually I only speak Earth Elemental because I didn't get any bonus languages.
Okay. I thought we gave you Gnomish because of your background.
Oh, well, and I didn't write it on my sheet if we did, but...
Oh, maybe you didn't transfer over the new sheet?
Oh, yeah, actually, let me go find the old one.
Okay. So right now they're just standing and arguing amongst themselves in a language that Serenity may or may not understand.
I'll just kind of
Kelian.
look the other way, make sure nobody is coming up behind us as like one of these deliberation sessions goes on.
No, I just have Primordial and Terran. I don't have Gnomish.
Okay.
Kelian goes over to the gnomes, and he starts asking them a question, but the only word that can come out is the word "what." He says that a few times, and then gives an exasperated sigh and walks away. Really frustrated.
And you see them, when you interrupt their conversation, they all stop talking for a moment. When they see that you don't have a point to make, they resume their deliberations.
Which way are we supposed to go? Is that chasm new? Is that the problem?
You're asking the gnomes?
Yeah.
They haven't come across it before. The discussion is... It's kind of evenly split. Two of the gnomes are saying that just because we haven't come across it before doesn't mean this isn't the right way. The other two are saying, that's ridiculous, this is very clearly not the right way, where did we get off track? And in the middle is Middle Bob, and he just seems to be contemplating the situation.
That rumbling could have opened up the earth before.
And as if on cue, you say the word rumbling, and again, the vibrations through the rock. You feel them more than hear them, really.
Ciclon's looking around like, what the fuck is going on?
Mahogany steps away from the chasm.
Can't we just walk around the chasm? I mean, gravity works everywhere. It's not like we have to fall in.
And one of the two gnomes, who is of the opinion that you've taken a wrong turn, and that you should go back, he's advocating going back and finding where they got off track. He tells Riot, he kind of motions to the chasm, and he says, "Be my guests. You'll either fall in or get more lost."
That's a good point. There was that chasm that opened out behind Stev's place that gravity worked in. We should test this out before we...
Yeah. Is there a loose rock or something?
Not as such. The tunnels are much tighter and much more worn in Cocytus because of the narrower tunnels and the more violent wind. It's not smooth. It's not like Dwarf Fortress smooth, but there's not loose rocks hanging around. You could easily break part of the rock off the wall, though, with the correct tools.
Well, we have some rope with us. Like, all we need to test is whether or not the rope sticks to the edge of the tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll dangle some rope over the pit.
Okay. And it does. You throw the rope over, and you see it lash out. How much do you throw? Are you throwing it across this gap, or just down into the pit?
No, I'm only throwing out, like, maybe 4 feet.
Okay. And so, yeah, you see it lash out into the chasm, and then fall against the wall. Kind of difficult to tell if it's just laying there or if it's being pulled against the wall, though.
So gravity kind of works. I mean, we should be careful with it, but... Mahogany's realizing he's saying gravity works. Well, actually, no, this is actually pretty normal. Sigel's pretty fucked, too, so...
Yeah.
Mahogany would probably think, this is a little weird, but...
Fine. So, Middle Bob...
Like if we were on the outside of Sigil instead of on the inside of the Taurus.
Middle Bob clasps his hands together and says, "That's enough. Let's put it to a vote. Go forward or go back." And of course, 2 of his gnomes vote to go back. 2 of them vote to go forward. Then Middle Bob turns to you all.
Serenity would vote to go forward.
Riot votes forward. She's seen them deliberate enough times of the map that she can't believe that they took a wrong turn anywhere.
Okay. How are Kelian and Ciclon on this? So Kelian abstains. What about Ciclon?
Ciclon abstains as well. He's just he looks lost in thought about something.
Forward it is. Now that we've made the decision, let's get moving.
Middle Bob also votes forward. Says, "All right, we'll need a way to bridge this gap. Even if gravity takes us along the walls, I don't want to walk down into that chasm. Let's gather up all the rope and planks, people. The gnomes start unpacking rope, bits of firewood that they've been carrying with them, in the hopes that the winds calm down enough that they could camp, which has not been the case.
Well, this is one thing that maybe I just don't understand pandemonium very well, or maybe I don't understand the current situation. Why would we have to walk into the chasm at all? So we're in this tunnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a chasm. Let's call the chasm at the bottom of the tunnel. Couldn't we just walk along the sides of the tunnel and bypass it?
The chasm completely bisects this tunnel. When you look out into this chasm, you're looking at empty space in all directions, but 10 feet in front of you is a stone wall with another tunnel going into it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like someone just cut out a cross section.
Okay.
Of this area of pandemonium.
When you say cut out, does it look worked?
No, it does. It looks natural. It looks like a natural formation.
All right, but does it look any less smooth than the walls around our current tunnel?
No, it looks like the winds have been working it for just as long as everywhere else in Cocytus.
Okay.
Everywhere else that you've seen, anyway. You've only been in Cocytus for about a day. So the gnomes begins setting to work, putting together like an impromptu bridge, lashing together what kind of planks of wood they have. What does the party have to add to this construction effort? I'm sure Serenity's just thinking about leaping across.
I mean, that would work, right?
Depends on what gravity's like.
I got nothing.
I've got a spear.
How long is your spear?
It's a short spear, probably 5 feet, 6 feet. Probably about it's probably as tall as she is, I would think.
Okay.
Dang.
Yeah, no, if you offer that spear, they're more than happy to use it, make use of it. Same with Mahogany's staff.
Well, will I get the staff back?
Sure, if it doesn't break or fall into the pit.
I think I'm gonna hold on to the staff. Staff's a little important. I'll give you this rope, though.
So how much rope do you all donate to the cause?
I'll donate my 50 feet.
Okay.
I don't have anything useful.
Mahogany, do you lend your construction efforts?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's not nearly enough wood in your group to make a solid bridge across. But between the rope that Serenity and Mahogany have and the rope that the gnomes were carrying, and they were able to strengthen it with Serenity's spear, their bits of firewood they've been carrying, you make this kind of like a Jacob's ladder, only it's not going to spin. They've secured it with climbing pittons to the sides of the cave here. So now somebody needs to figure out a way to go across and secure the bridge on the other side.
How wide is the gap?
10 feet.
Serenity, do you think we could jump it? We could tie a rope around you, you could jump, and then if you fall, just try to hit one of the walls and walk back up.
No, that seems reasonable.
Okay. Yeah,
Who's going to be holding the other end of the rope?
I'm reminded of Mario Galaxy now for some reason.
Oh, holding the other end of the rope's no problem, because everybody can grasp it from their end, and they got a lot of leverage over you.
I'll tie a rope around my waist.
Alright, let's see an athletics check. Roll this at disadvantage.
Not a bad disadvantage.
Not a bad check.
That would be 17.
You don't have as much of a run-up as you would like, because a lot of the rope had to be cut and repurposed to construct this bridge. The piece that Mahogany's using only has about 30 feet remaining. Tie it around your waist. That only gives you maybe a 12-foot run-up to the end, to give you enough slack to get over the pit, unless everybody runs alongside you, but that's voted down because it sounds like a bad idea. So Serenity does this wild leap across the pit, and you feel the gravity changing as you're moving. You feel yourself being pulled in a couple different directions, but your inertia carries you through, and you manage to tuck and roll on the other side, and you feel the rope go taut as soon as you hit the ground, and everybody else standing on the other side of the pit, a ways back, grasping it. After that, the gnomes Heave-ho, throw the bridge across, and you were supplied with a hammer and a couple of climbing pittons.
Okay.
Hammer those down into the rock, and now you've got this nice, extremely flimsy rope ladder bridging this gap.
Nice.
Don't forget to drink your bottle too, people.
I got the reference, don't worry.
I'm good. That's the second inside joke tonight. Excellent work.
God damn.
The gnomes all get across the rope bridge, no problem. And that sounds like I'm being flippant, like, oh, of course, they're gnomes, they're 3 feet tall. But keep in mind, all of these gnomes have a heavy pack. They're all carrying a great deal of tools and wares and provisions. And the bridge they've constructed teeters a great bit. And 4 of the gnomes make the crossing on hands and knees, like climbing across rather than walking.
Mm-hmm.
Serenity, you're on the other side. So who amongst you wants to go first? Both of you can mark off your rope. Mahogany, you've now got, what did I say, 30 feet of rope?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd given Mahogany all of my rope to carry the head anyway.
I'll go across next.
All right. How do you cross?
Low crawl as best I can on the rope bridge.
Okay. It's very unsturdy. And just the idea that if we had only had like 3 planks of wood, we could have made an actual bridge and nailed it together. But you managed to get across with very little difficulty. The rope doesn't spin. The winds are blowing into your face, so you're not being blown across the chasm, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ciclon crosses the ladder.
Sidles up again, back up against the wall as best he can, and watches the others come across.
Riot's gonna go next, so she doesn't have to watch Mahogany go.
Leaving Kelian alone with the naked Genasi.
That's fine. Me and Kelian understand each other.
How does Riot cross?
The same way as the gnomes and Ciclon, because she's seen that it works.
Okay, and it does work. You get across, and it's flimsy, but it works.
Serenity, you'd be seeing Ciclon just watching you, like, every
Alright,
so often
Mahogany's
out of the
gonna go
corner of your eye.
So Kelian's going to watch that ass?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright. And how does Mahogany cross?
Their way seems pretty good. I'm just gonna use that.
Okay.
They might
leaves
chafe a bit.
Kelian.
Same way. Slow and safe as possible.
Okay. Kelian gets about halfway across the bridge. When the winds suddenly shift, and now they're blowing perpendicular to you. And when that happens, one of the pythons on the other side gives loose. The whole rope bridge wavers. You're not going to be able to make it across. In this split second, you're going to be blown into this pit. My first question is, those of you on the other side, what is your immediate reaction to seeing that?
I transform into a spider and hit him with some web.
Transform into a spider and hit web? Okay.
Yeah, I
roll
want to
initiative.
be able to pull him back.
Roll initiative?
Did the piton bust out on our side or
No, the opposite
we're coming
side.
from?
So what happened is
Okay.
one of them came loose when the wind started blowing. So part of that bridge fell in, so now it's only secured by one spike on their end.
Okay.
Who won the initiative roll?
I got a 17. I don't know about anyone else.
What Kelian get? I'm only interested in the two
I
of you
got
right
a
now.
6.
A 6. Okay. So Mahogany, you're up.
Alright, I transform into a giant spider,
Okay.
and I shoot the web at him, keeping the back end of it connected to me, because I'm going to try to drag him up
Okay.
with it once it encompasses him. Do I have to hit his AC, or like is there something else I'm trying to hit?
That would be under your web attack.
Well, no, I know, but... Okay. I'm going to use up my 2 belief points.
Okay. You need to make this roll a disadvantage because of the gale winds.
Oh. Well, okay. So is it... How does that work? Do I roll
Well,
disadvantage
make
now?
the original disadvantage roll. Do that first.
Okay.
And then belief points work just like inspiration. You roll a third die and then keep whichever die you want.
All right. So
It's a good
that's
thing that
5.
you're spending that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd I do? I can't see because the whole thing's spinning.
Why is it spinning?
17. Is that a 22?
It's a 17. That's what I see.
Yeah, 22. Yeah, that'll hit him.
Okay, so what does the webbing actually do? He's restrained?
He's restrained. Yeah.
Well, Kelian, I was going to give you a dexterity saving throw, but now you're restrained, so you fail that automatically. So the webbing has kind of lashed him to this bridge. So what's the next step?
I'm going to try to pull on the webbing and
Have the
drag him
gnomes
back
come
onto
across
land.
the bridge yet?
Oh yeah, they went across first. They were first
So I'll
across after
start.
you.
I mean, I could just pull the bridge over. I could start pulling the bridge down.
Yeah, it could hurt
Okay.
the whole damn thing, the whole rig he got over.
Give me a strength. Well, let's ask this: are you just grabbing it and tugging it like brute strength? Or are you trying to finesse it like pulling a plug out of a wall with the cord?
I mean, I'm trying. As long as he's on the side where he falls down towards us, I don't really care.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna pull on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Straight up strength. Just yank it.
Why are there 2 dice rolling? No.
Because they were both highlighted, I bet.
Ow.
First roll was way better. That would be like a 4.
You give it a couple
5.
yanks, but the spike on the other side remains firm. It doesn't come loose. So Mahogany, you start reeling him in using the webbing.
Mm-hmm.
And you do, but you reach the same problem after a couple feet. Is that the spike on the other side is giving way. So you're pulling against this whole bridge that Kelian is lashed to with webbing. The bridge has now
Alright,
become a liability.
I'm going to do my best then to secure the web that I have here to this side, such that if it does crash, he'll at least fall towards us.
So what do you secure it to?
Myself.
Okay.
I'm a pretty big spider. I think I can hold him up.
Kelian, what's your thought process in this spider web lashed to this bridge in this chasm?
His thought process is, I'm going to die. And
So-
he's just rolling with it.
Just acceptance, just resignation,
Resignation.
just giving up. Okay. And yeah, the gnomes, seeing the predicament, they're starting to shout over the winds that they need to get that bridge loose on the other side.
What can I do exactly? I'm assuming like I'm in web.
Yeah.
Do I
You
have?
can break out of the web.
That's all I can do is try to break out.
Yeah, and I
'Cause,
would
like,
not recommend it.
If I had access to my arms, I was thinking he would shoot a crossbow bolt at the remaining.
Okay, let me
spike in
look at the
ground.
rules for restraint.
You can make that shot, but you're making it with disadvantage. Restrained means that you can still act, you just don't have any speed. You can't move anywhere.
Well, I don't think this will require any speed, so.
No, but you also make your attack rolls at disadvantage when restrained. But you'd be making it a disadvantage anyway because you're making a ranged attack in the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well-
you guys see Kelian kind of wrestle around in this webbing because he's still got one arm hooked over the rope bridge, and with some difficulty you manage to get your crossbow out.
Yeah, I'll try to shoot the spike. Why not? Carpe
Go for it.
diem.
Make a safe review, yeah.
Sees the dungeon master. Ouch.
Man,
And you
that
loose the bolt,
was almost good.
and it's whipped off by the winds. The winds just carry it away. The horrible moaning undead winds.
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna burn a belief point on this. The
Okay.
2 belief points.
Need to get better than a 2, so...
Well, he can take the 15 now. Is from my understanding.
He can take the 15 now, yes.
Alright, then the 15 plus. Do I add anything to it?
Your
It's an attack roll.
So 21.
So you lower this crossbow, and it's the most awkward shot of your life. So you got one arm hooked down across like the side of this bridge that you were climbing on, and one of your elbows is pinned against your torso with this sticky spider web, and you feel Serenity and Mahogany both tugging you from the side. You wrestle the crossbow out, get it tucked up under your chin, and fire it at the spike. It misses the spike, but it shears part of the rope as it goes. Aiming the shot was going to be impossible anyway with the winds. But your Hail Mary seemed to weaken the rope, and you feel the whole structure groan under your weight for a moment, and then you hear the rope snap, and you feel your body picked up by the winds and carried forward.
Okay.
Still attached to the ladder and still stuck down with web as well.
I'm assuming do I swing into the side of this chasm?
You're whipping around.
Oh, I'm whipping around.
You're
okay.
whipping around in midair, in between the two walls at this moment. You feel the effects of gravity, but it's really difficult to pin down which way you're being pulled. It's a really I give you make you Constitution roll against nausea if I were a worse kind of DM. But it is making you kind of ill. So Kelian's come loose from the other side of the chasm, and his life is now in your hands. So you guys take your knife and cut the ropes. So Mahogany begins reeling him in, and Kelian, you feel the wind's effects on them less and less. Your vision is just vertigo in all directions until eventually you feel your head crack hard up against the far wall.
That's what I was waiting for.
As Mahogany grabbed, and the rest of them reach down, pull you up by your arms, fish you over into the tunnel.
Mahogany chitters over and gives you a hug with all 8 limbs. Your call as to whether this is better or worse than it would be if he wasn't transformed.
Kelian looks straight into all of Mahogany's eyes, as if though he's about to say something, and instead vomits on him.
That seems appropriate. I'm gonna rule that vomit remains even after you transform.
Mahogany would feel really bad about that, except for the fact that the winds are now whipping against his legs, and the hair on them is hearing and feeling the winds, and it feels real good.
At the end of all the fiasco, Middlebob chimes back up. Says, well, decision's made now. No turning back even if we wanted to. Who's taking point? I guess I should ask this at first. Are you guys letting the Middlebob company lead, or is someone in your group leading?
Yeah, they're the ones who know where to go.
Okay.
Ciclon's walking behind Serenity.
Is my spear still in the ruin of the bridge? Am I able to unlash it?
I'll give you even odds. Throw a percentile.
That spear could be useful.
We
could use that wood later on if we need to fashion a flute.
Yeah, Mahogany could whittle a flute out of it.
Where is the making the thing? Metal. There we go. Metal is the 10/10.
Okay. No, when the bridge smacked against the wall, a lot of the wood gave way, and your spear either fell into the pit and was sucked against one of the walls, or was carried off by the wind. You're not sure.
Okay.
It's gone. So I'll leave it up to you to determine whether you'd rather have Kelian or rather have your spear. Because I feel like that's either way.
I guess I'll keep the rogue, but I might pick him up and use him to stab things.
Who wants to throw 3 more d4?
Kelian is okay with that.
I'll throw it.
I'll throw it.
I'll throw it. No.
Well, you beat me to it because Tabletop Simulator is spinning all around and making me nauseous.
Why is it doing that?
I think I have a controller plugged in.
Yeah, you should probably unplug it. Even, basically.
Okay.
No change. +1, -1.
The winds get worse, and then they get a little better over the course of the next day and a half. And it's now long beyond the amount of time that they said it would take you to get to the harmonica.
Think we made a bad call?
Who are you saying that to?
Just into no one in particular.
Middle Bob doesn't
Not much.
seem worried. Tense, maybe, but not worried. And he says, it's just a momentary setback. It happens. It happens.
Not much we can do about it now, anyway.
Yeah.
But Kelian just gives up exasperated.
The rumbling gets worse as time goes on. You actually come to a part of the tunnels that the gnomes all admit that they do not recognize. The walls here look much rougher. And the mechanism by which they look rougher is not in evidence. The winds have not subsided in the slightest. But you're getting to the point now that when the rumblings take hold of the caves around you, dust and debris come loose from the walls and just kind of float and congregate around the cavern as though deciding which way to fall. And at the end of that 5th day, I need everybody to please make me a dexterity saving throw.
No disadvantage or anything?
Nope. It's a dex save.
Wait, did you say at the end of the 5th day?
Yep.
I'd like to make some rolls before that.
You'd like to make some rolls before that?
Yeah, because if we're spending more time than we think, if we have no idea where we are, and we're running out of supplies,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be burning spell slots trying to cast Goodberry.
Okay, give me 1 second. I don't think this plane
Yeah.
had any effect on Goodberry, but I'm going to double check.
It's just hard to cast it when the winds are blowing.
Do we need to mark down more rations? I guess is.
Well, I think that's what.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was another day and a
Right.
half, so 2 more provisions. It'll be the end of the 5th day.
Well, that's what Mahogany's trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you need to make a dexterity saving throw. It's got material components, right? Or verbal.
It's got verbal. It might possibly be both. But I'm going to be casting it every night before bed. So let me check real quick because I have it written down right on my sheet.
Okay.
Yeah, if he can successfully cast this, then we don't need to burn rations. Is I think the point.
Yeah, I was fine with it the first few days because we were on track. But then, oh yeah, it's got both.
It's got
so I need
both.
to make both.
Okay, so you can make these checks twice because you started casting them at the end of the. You started casting them on the 4th day.
Yeah,
So,
4th day.
Oh, a dex save and a wisdom save.
All right, so those are both the same bonus.
Both are DC
What's
12.
my DC that I'm looking for?
12.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to roll both at once, and if I see any high numbers... Okay, so that one's going to fail. I'm going to try to cast it again. That one's going to fail.
Yeah, he's all failed.
Nope. This is why I'm casting at the end of the day. Alright, so that one finally makes it through. And at
Okay.
this point, Mahogany is, like, looking real worried, and he just finally just feels relief when it works. Alright, so he says, okay, everyone, I've got enough for everyone for the night, at least.
The gnomes say they don't need any. They are well provisioned for this journey.
Alright, then I'll give everyone one, and I'll say, make sure to have one tomorrow around noon, so that it lasts through a second day. And I'll give everyone 2.
Okay.
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 Yeah, they're...
So how many rations do we use before that?
2.
I think we made it through 3.
You got through 3 days to that point.
Okay.
Then he handed
Okay.
you berries for the next 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the Middle Bob Company's mottos is to always over-prepare, because the planes never act the same way twice. So they left. They made sure to leave with quite a lot of provisions. Also, they're gnomes. They don't eat much.
Yeah.
And the next night, we don't need these for that night, but I'm just going to try it a couple times
Okay.
to see if I can get some for the next 2 days. Or the next day, rather. And
That's
I'm just
fair.
going to try, I'll say
Now,
3 is
after
going to be my limit.
that, like on the 5th day, because the berries spoil after 24 hours. They're no good after 1 day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying we
Yeah.
try it. We have it one night at night, one on noon, and then that night I make more,
Okay.
and I pass out 2 again to everyone. So you don't need to eat these today, but you'll need to eat them tomorrow, and do it before now.
So everybody right now has 2 good berries.
Yeah.
Correct.
So how's that dexterity saving throw going for everybody?
I've made
24.
I failed.
Failed.
Okay.
Oh,
Passed.
let me
What-
make
I mean,
that.
I'm assuming I passed. I got a 24.
Well, yeah. What was the DC?
12.
Okay, yeah, I passed.
Fail.
Well, I rolled a
I
2.
fail.
Okay, if you fail, you're going to take 16 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh, goody.
Oof. What from?
I'm at 1. I'm at 2.
From a cave-in.
No, I mean from like falling or things hitting me.
No, things hitting you.
Ouch.
The rumbling gets worse and worse on the 5th day. You all come to a fork in the road, and the Middle Bobs, again, turn their backs to the wind, get out their map, and begin discussing which of these 2 paths need to be taken. And they're about to ask for your opinion when you hear, this time you hear the rumbling so loud, it's overcoming the gale force moaning winds. And the walls all start coming loose. A cave-in on the prime material involves the ceiling coming loose and falling down. Pandemonium, it involves the entire tunnel constricting together as all the walls fall inward towards each other. And that's exactly what happens. Those of you who failed the check were battered around the head and torso with pointy rocks. And those of you who failed, roll me a second dexterity check as well, please. Assuming you had your lantern lit. If you didn't have your lantern lit, don't bother with this check.
I failed that one as well.
Okay.
What's the difficulty?
12.
I failed that one as well.
Mahogany and Serenity. During the cave-in, your lanterns that you had lit are struck by rocks and shatter. And are no longer good. After a few moments, the rumbling subsides, and you're left not in silence because there's still gale force winds, but you start hearing faintly on the other side of this cave-in the gnomes calling out. And I gotta look up her name, and I think it was a really terrible, embarrassing name, but I kept it because it came from fantasynamegenerators.com.
EmbarrassingNameGenerator.com.
Yeah, I swear to God this name is real from fantasynamegenerators.com. Her name is Dinkflink.
Dinklink. I like it.
Dinkflink the gnome.
That sounds like a name of someone you'd find in Pandemonium.
Dinkflink was the novice adventurer that needed exposure to the winds. This cave-in split your group. You guys and Dinkflink are on one side of this cave-in, and the other 4 gnomes are on the other side. Because they were kind of taking the lead. When the cave-in happened, the rocks all came together. She fell back while the rest jumped forward. So now you all are cut off from the gnomes. They shout through the rubble to confirm. Nobody's dead. Nobody's seriously injured.
Ow.
But getting
We're
through this
fine.
rubble's not going to be possible.
If only I had some sort of horn that I could call stone elementals with.
You never did use that, did you?
Nope.
Never did use it, because I felt like it would be disrespectful to the stone elementals to get rid of it.
In the meantime, Kelian takes out his lantern and gives it to Mahogany.
I saved my life, guys.
His extra one that he purposely didn't light.
Ciclon is bloodied and looks like a bag of ass, but he's still got his lit lantern in his hand.